We are gathered here today to speak on the BIC. All right, cool. Oh, hey, a microphone. Hello, check 1, 2. My name is Eli McRae. I am a member of the BIC Village here. We are going to be doing a BIC walkthrough. Who here is familiar with the BIC? 1, 2. You guys have the bags. You get the BIC. Yeah, round of applause for the BIC. Yay. Cool. So I am not an expert at electrical engineering or computer or anything, even though I might have credentials that indicate otherwise. I come by way of the hacking community first and foremost, but I do things for industry and government. But hacker at heart, forever and always. So you guys are looking at the BIC. You've seen the BIC. You see me wearing a BIC. It's actually a relic of yesteryear. So at Lafayette State University, we were working on cleaning out the basement, and we discovered these documents. And there was just like this like apocryphal story about these communications devices that were out and about in the community. They were using for super secret communications to sort of like, you can think like Foxy Brown spy stuff. Of the 70s and 80s. You can see here, this is one of their promotional materials. You can see they were already advertising unbreakable encryption. You guys get that? It's funny that I picked an Afro pick, given that I have like this haircut since the 7th grade. But at any rate, it was also meant to be like a portable computing gadget. It's got a bunch of stuff like embedded in this, what is otherwise a humble Afro pick. However, given the technology of the 70s, 80s, and into the 90s, you can see here, this is one of the original prototypes. They had to lift it in with a boom. It was just too big. They were limited by the technology of their time. Okay? So fortunately, time progresses on. We found these designs, and we're hopefully bringing them to you. So, as I mentioned, at Lafayette State University, we were working on cleaning out one of the basements in one of the labs, and we found some documents that described it, and I said, wow, what a cool idea. What if I were to re-implement a lot of those capabilities and features into a badge for DEF CON? That would be super sick. We wanted to stay true to the spirit. That's why it's shaped like an Afro pick. So, keep that in mind. And we did add some features of our own along the way. So you might notice that if you have the kit or if you purchase one of the pre-assembled badges, it looks like a pretty simple affair. There is a simple off-the-shelf MCU. That's the Waveshare ESP32S3. You can buy those in bulk. And we did. That's why we have them as such. And then there's a PCB. Everything else is pre-assembled for you. So this is an opportunity for you to learn how to solder if you've never done it before. We chose this MCU because it was the finest that the year 2020 had to offer. And it's got lots of horsepower for us. It's got Wi-Fi. And it would serve as a good platform for us to build upon. So the PCB, anybody done like electrical engineering or PCB design? Anybody? Yeah? Well, don't judge me. Here we are. We are doing the thing. We learn and we are experiencing trial by fire. So this is our schematic. You can use this diagram to map things out if you need to at a later point in time. You may need to at a later point in time. So we know that the original BIC actually had a bunch of LEDs and things, but they were those old amber ones, and they had like some tubes and stuff. That's why it was so large. This, we were able to use NeoPixels to replicate that functionality. So because we're at a hacker conference too, we also wanted to make sure that it was SAO compatible. So you'll notice that there's a plethora of SAO ports, but the badge itself is an SAO. So it can be SAO inception for you. I happen to have that situation going right now where I have a board behind the BIC and the BIC is riding on it, and then there's several SAOs on top of my BIC. So the reason we chose to do that is because we did not want you to have to choose which badge you wore. We wanted you to always have the option of wearing your BIC, as every good, cybersecurity hacker person should have some electronic gadgetry on them at all times. So that's why we have that. You can use it to to drive other, like I said, power other, SAOs or badges. So let's see. So where you come in, right? This is a learning utensil. This is something you can use to teach other people. It's something you can use to teach yourself. I mentioned soldering. It's really easy. It's really straightforward. There's a video embedded here in a little bit. If you got a copy of the presentation, you'll be able to watch that. You watch me do it in less than, 4 minutes maybe. So something to note, though, is that the badges and the CTF challenges embedded within will require collaboration. So there's stuff that, one of the things I didn't really mention was a whole lot of inter-badge communication. That was a core feature of the original BIC, was that you were able to communicate with those around you. So when it comes to producing them, just in case anyone was unclear, that's my credit card paying those tariffs, and that's why we purchased in bulk back in December. So not some foreign nation. There's that. Okay, here we are. We have 18 NeoPixels. There's wireless inter-badge communication. The way that you interact with this BIC is by way of the serial terminal, and you use AT-style commands. Anyone familiar with like old AT Hayes modems of the 80s, 90s? Yeah. So sharpen up those skills, and definitely consult the documentation. So there's a bunch of different tools that we built in there. There's logic analyzer, there's generic GPIO control. If you're familiar, I mentioned teaching other people, there's DEF CON Next Generation. If you're not familiar, that's the young and rising hackers. There's a DC Next Gen integration as well, where they'll teach you about a cipher system that they have, and you can go solve the challenge, and then we can award you points with this. And again, I mentioned there's lots of BIC Village CTF points in there, thousands. So that's the back of it. Yeah, do explore your badge. Look it over front and back. Everything that's in there is in there on purpose. So that's a QR code. I don't know why. It's a YouTube video. That's it. Yeah, that's the assembly video. As I mentioned, pretty straightforward. It's a minute or so. Do watch it, and you can see how it goes together. Pretty straightforward. Like I mentioned, we have some soldering irons here. You're also welcome to go down to the hardware hacking village and use their utensils, or if you need someone who can give maybe a little more expertise than I have with regards to soldering. But I promise you, it is not that tricky. Oops. All right, so how do you get started? On the badge, you'll notice that there's a QR code and a URL. You're welcome to access it via either one of those mechanisms, either the QR code or the URL. And that URL will take you to badge.shift.us, and it will drop you into a web interface. So as long as you're using a Chrome-ish web browser, you'll have access to the Web Serial API, and it will allow you to connect to your BIC. If you want to stay in the command line, you can use one of those two commands in the bottom, or any terminal emulator of your choice. Screen or Minicom are two examples. And you can copy and paste those commands, and it should generally work. So when you get into your BIC, what's the first thing you're going to do? Well, help, right? What do I do? So these will be among the first commands that you can run, or you should run, when you get into the system, and it'll give you all the information you need to complete the CTF challenges, discover other things, and whatnot. So I mentioned BadgeNet. BadgeNet is the wireless inter-badge communication platform that is taking place. There's a nickname. By default, you have a nickname that is dynamically generated for you. So you can set your own nickname and customize your badge to your liking. Tanny is to toggle animations. So when your badge is idling, after you assemble it, you get a reward of sorts, right, by way of flag. And what am I saying here? Oh, and then it goes into like a screensaver mode, just like going around the conference. If that's distracting, you can turn it off. Go ahead.
What protocol is the inter-badge communication?
That is left as an exercise to the reader. So yeah, well, you'll be able to find that out as soon as you read it. So, what am I saying here? Oh, yes, there's also a virtual file system within the BIC, so you can navigate that file system. There's other file manipulation commands available to you. and then the DEF CON Next Generation game and encryption simulator, or not simulator, it's actually encryption. So there's that. So that's the challenge. So I would run those commands and explore. Definitely read through the help document. It's dense, but it's dense on purpose. So there's that. All right. So when you guys get an opportunity to get the scoreboard up, you'll see all the challenges. This was it's kind of like a scavenger hunt. You're not given a set of objectives to find. It's like, here, go and find this in location X. You kind of happen upon them. So it's I call it like Oprah style CTF. It's like you look under your chair and you find a flag. So that's how you're going to find the flags. As long as it's in the format, which we'll go over here in a second, you'll know you're on the right track. Some of them are at firmware level. Others are at the application level. And some are at the protocol level for the badge net. Some are just little puzzles. As long as you're reading and paying attention, you'll figure them out. So anyone of all skill level is going to be able to participate and learn something or enjoy some aspect of this badge, I think. So yes, and also there will be references to other CTF challenges for other aspects of the BIC CTF embedded in the badge. So the flag format that you're going to experience within the BIC badge, or the BIC pick, will be this. So if you witness a BIC CTF with some witty message or something like that, that is a flag, right? So be mindful of that. So those who had the pre-assembled kit or other may have noticed that it doesn't have a battery, right? So that is also left to you. So we're going to talk about hacking on a battery. There's no reason to add yet another piece of like lithium ion that'll end up in the the landfill. So there's lots of options to go down to the vendors and get their USB battery banks. And that's like the simplest thing you can do to make your own battery bank, right? And because it's also an SAO, you can just siphon someone else's battery power. So they already did that hard work for us. They already paid them tariffs. So let's capitalize and stand on the shoulders of giants. That's what I'll say. But yeah, you can also like salvage e-cigarettes or something. There's lots of those floating around Vegas. And if you have an interesting battery mod, come through, and I've got gadgets to trade or give away. So we'll see that. We did break out, like, you can either solder in, like if you wanted to on there, or you can drive through the SAO ports, or you can power through the USB. Those are all options for you. So here's a couple of examples. Here's my flipper acting as a glorified battery. $180 battery. And then I mentioned my badge is just a USB battery bank from a vendor somewhere. Wrong keyboard. So this is, I guess, a PSA. In case it gets too wild on BadgeNet, you can disable it with these two commands. AT FWR disable badgenet.txt, and then the base64 blob. And then enable it there if you need to re-enable it or if it's interrupting your flow in some way. If you are assembling your badge, you end up in a situation where your BIC pick is doing this, where this NeoPixel is like blinking in a weird state. You probably need to resolder pin 7, the 3.3 volt line, or the ground line. That just means you might not have a good solid connection between one of those 3 pins. That's going to be this one, and that one. So if you are in that situation, same game, right? So it just means it's a weak connection between the first NeoPixel pin and the MCU. If that doesn't work, then come find us and we'll talk about fixing it some other way. So, all right, and I think Finney. Cool. Awesome. Cool. I guess I'll ask questions, comments, concerns.